So we are in Sri Lanka for the first time.
Yeah, the first beach town that we have come to, and right after we got off the plane, we saw World Cup seemed to be the magic word. We got through everything in a jiffy.
There's a World Cup buzz. We came across some interesting names along the way though. Cockpit Hotel, Dine More Restaurant, Hellman Logistics, Duplication Road, Nondescript Cricket Club. I mean, Sri Lanka's pretty interesting name too, actually.
And it took them 3 chances to get at that name. Serendip, Ceylon, and then Sri Lanka.
We stopped here very vividly reminded that this is a Buddhist nation.
And maybe that's why we didn't face any haggling or any hustling up until that point.
This sports seems to be everywhere, but cricket always wins.
Yeah, and even for a tennis ball match, they're marking creases. And then we drove with Andy in a tuk-tuk to the SLC office.
So we reached the SLC office and they were in readiness for a match, a school match between Nalanda and Ananda, which is there, Cambridge and Oxford. But it's really perverse how they can have a school match on a World Cup Sri Lanka versus Australia day.
And our business there got done very easily. We got our passes in a jiffy, and we were also handed a letter from Matthew Hayden in which he used Kevin O'Brien's record-breaking innings to speak about his philanthropic cricket programs.
Which was a bit bizarre. There was anticipation amongst the journalists in the van.
I mean, I was kicked about this match as well. I couldn't pick a winner going into this match.
Well, as per our calculations, Sri Lanka has the strongest bowling in this tournament and surprisingly the weakest batting. Quite a reversal from their 1996 team. This might cost them heavily. So I was looking forward to seeing whether this actually panned out.
Then we reached the ground and saw the Australian team practice and the crowds pouring in.
We actually saw Ricky Ponting and some of the other Australians practice from outside.
And I asked one of the fans what he thought of the weather.
No, I think it's dried up pretty well, and we're looking forward to a great game today.
All right, good luck.
All the
Thank
best.
you very much.
All the best. It was shaping up to be a really interesting match, but sadly it got rained off. Everybody was disappointed and everybody left in small batches.
Then we reached the press conference as usual, and Sangakkara seemed rather happy with the 1 point.
Kumar, we wanted us, we were set to make your first 100 in World Cups. Then these speakers must have been disappointed this.
Yeah, the game was really well poised at that time, 18 overs to go. We were realistically looking at anything close to 50 or maybe even slightly above. So, it would have been a great game of cricket had it continued.
Sangakkara took a dig at the announcer for asking the crowd to cheer the Australians as well.
It's negative, I don't think it's negative at all. I think it's great to have that passionate crowd behind you all the time. And we had announcements at the start of the game as well. Asking the crowd to make sure that they promoted Australia as well. So maybe it doesn't need to be a 50-50 day.
Was he actually being sarcastic?
They obviously knew the way the wicket was going to play. For me today, that wicket is vastly different than the wickets that have been used in the previous games that have been played.
Ricky Ponting, as usual, whining about the turning pitch.
How does this one match up with that one, and do you think this was an acceptable World Cup pitch?
I think, as I said, I'm a bit surprised at how different this wicket was compared to the ones that the previous games that we've seen here. I think even when we turned up the ground yesterday and had a look at the wicket, you could tell that it was going to be a lot different than the wicket that was played on the day before, because you could see that wicket right beside it, and it was, that one had a bit of grass on it, and the one that we're going to use today was just basically rolled mud. So
As is becoming a habit, we met our good friend Andy at the end of the match.
I didn't shake Ricky Ponting's hand.
Which has nothing whatsoever to do with his habit of cleaning, moisturizing his hands while fielding.
No, nothing to do with that. He's welcome to do that if he wants. You know, it's a free world.
But would you shake his hand thereafter?
Would I shake his hand? Oh, what? Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe a high five is as far as I'd be prepared to go with Ponting. Ricky Ponting's always complained about the pitch. Said it turned too much.
That was actually bizarre.
Yeah, said it turned too much, and then he walked straight off as soon as it rains. I can't help thinking that today's players are pampered and not real men anymore. I mean, back in the 1970s, they'd have played through that. They just, they didn't worry about being underwater in the 70s. You know, Jeff Boycott would not have scored 800,000 runs in his career if he'd gone off every time it rained. But today's players, as soon as, a deluge of 6 inches of rain falls in half an hour, they run straight off the pitch. Sissies. There's 30,000 people paid to see that game. They're not paid to see a big puddle. They paid to see a puddle with some cricketers trying to play cricket on it.
So you reckon they should have stayed and probably broken a limb or two?
Definitely stayed. Well, they can break a leg. There's plenty of other cricketers where they come from, isn't it?